today. We have a real treat here. Nikki has brought a whole heap of show and tell stuff, so welcome.
It's lovely to be here, Nikki. Thanks for having me.
I love this. This is going to be great. So, plastic-free alternatives is your business.
Yes.
And so I have done my homework and looked on and been online and looked at your online shop and things like that. But I'm going to hand it over to you, and please tell us what it's all about.
Plastic-free alternatives. Well, the birth of the business was really about my concern for the future. I've got 3 children, and I was looking around and I just felt like, you know, there were things we needed to make some changes, and that I wanted a more positive future for my children in terms of the state of the planet, you know, their health, all of those things. So out of that came, well, what really came first was Bee-Tastic wraps.
Yes.
I
love them.
Yeah,
I love them. And they're quite pretty too.
They are, aren't they? Yeah. And I think once you make that transition out of, you know, away from cling wrap and that single-use plastic, it's quite, you know, you get into the groove and it becomes quite easy and not as daunting as people, I think, first find it. Yeah, so we started with wraps.
So here we go.
I'm going to show you.
So much stuff here. I'll take photos, but here we go.
So here are some of our wraps. So we've got big ones for big platters, medium size, large ones, and medium size and small ones. So that was where we started. Our first, I guess, the beginning of our journey was to remove cling wrap.
Yep.
And so we did that. And then it sort of made us look around. And once you start to think about it, you see all this plastic, you see it differently. You suddenly see the masses of plastic we have in our lives that we rely on. Some of it we're never going to dispense with, and that's okay. But there's so much that we can do, and so that it was sort of like it just sort of tumbled.
Snowballed.
It did from that point on. Yeah.
Fantastic.
And it grew. So.
All right, I'm just going to let you keep going because I love all this.
Oh, yeah. I think, too, we sort of have to...
I like the bags.
The bags?
Lots of bags,
Yeah.
And plus the little bags that you use to weigh things in.
These ones here? Yeah. So these are Onya bags, and we love Onya. Part of the philosophy of plastic-free alternatives is... that we work with businesses who are implementing sustainable practices or, you know, and ethical practices. We don't want to support businesses who are abusing workers or, you know, through their production, making more, you know, causing damage to the planet. So Onya is amazing. They are using recycled rPET bottles to make these produce bags. rPET, you know, the plastic water bottles that we use. So these little bags here were once a plastic water bottle.
Oh my goodness.
But they've been converted into a bag for. So you take that to the local shops, to the farmers market, pop your fruit and veg in there. You can get up to 2 kilos in here, and probably more. I've got 3 boys, and I really stretch these out, and and that's instead of the plastic bags. And that was sort of our next step in terms of we got rid of cling wrap, and then I was like, oh my God, I've got this pile of freezer bags building up and Ziploc bags. So that was our next step. Yeah.
Excellent.
Yep. The produce bags.
And I like the idea as well that you're being conscious of the fact that there's no child labour in production of this sort of thing. So is that an Australian company?
This is Onya is an Australian company. So
and that's good. That's keeping it within Australia as well.
Yep.
So there's all this knock-on benefits for everybody.
Yes. Like our first port of call is always to look for a product that's being made in Australia, which is pretty rare these days, isn't it? And second, an Australian-owned company that is ethically, you know, manufacturing over in China or India or wherever it is. And
that's they follow through on that. They keep an eye on that sort of stuff.
That's right. Like these guys here. This is my favourite bottle brush, and the most amazing toilet brush you'll ever use. this company here is EcoMax, and they specialise in all sorts of brushes for kitchen and body. And these guys are beautiful. They've set up a school for their workers.
Oh.
So they're really into caring for them. And I just think the Damon Gameau in the 2040 documentary, which came out in the middle of last year, really talked about how important it is to educate mothers and their girls. You know, women and girls will affect the change in society that we need. So
I totally agree with that.
So
in lots of cultures and lots of religions, that is the basis. The women are the ones that are the sort of the change, like you said, the change, because they're the ones that are educating and getting their children to these places and building all that up.
And I think often women are more able to embrace change more easily. We're more adaptable, you know. So often we just quietly lead the charge behind the scenes, you know, and then that change, you know, you see the change filter through society. So our business, Plastic Free Alternatives, and you know, Bee-Tastic, wraps in both those businesses the decisions we make about the products we stock or the raw materials that we get to make our products. You know, it's all driven by wanting to purchase from companies who are doing the right thing sustainably, you know, for the planet, you know, caring for their workers, you know.
And so you do your homework on that before you go into business with them?
We sure do.
Fantastic. That's great. That's excellent. It really is. And I think that it might be a little bit time consuming, but at least you know that when you sell on or you know, giving to your customers, you know exactly all the background behind it. And I think they appreciate that even more as well.
Well, we want our customers to feel assured that the purchase they're making, you know, is a quality purchase. There are lots of cheaper plastic-free alternatives out there, you know, that people can buy. But we want people to really think about the purchase that they're making and think beyond.
People like to know a story, don't they? They like to be involved and part of that story. So I think that's what you're setting up also.
I think, and that's part of why we're seeing that growing community of small businesses in Australia too. I think you know, Australians are wanting to deal directly with the business owner. You know, they're wanting to support small, you know, and growing businesses, the little guys.
Even though they can like going online and going yes, but if they have a question, they want to talk to somebody. I know I personally do.
Well, we do a lot of markets for that reason, because even though we're online, a lot of the people, especially the people we're talking to, they're at all different stages on their journey, you know,
transitioning
to a plastic-free lifestyle. And a lot of them, you know, are still feeling overwhelmed. They know they want to make a change, but they don't know how to make it. And we spend a lot of time at markets talking to people about that, you know, the little steps, how to make it. And that's the most rewarding part of this business. It's not selling the products, it's affecting the change and working with people and seeing that change.
And interacting. What markets are you at?
At the moment we're just doing the Mount Tamborine markets.
Nice.
Actually it's this weekend.
There you go.
But we do more markets later in the year, and we're just looking at the moment at what other markets we want to be involved in this year. Where we've been at there's a market at Cooperoo once a month that we've been attending, one at the Gasworks as well. So we're sort of in and around Brisbane and on the Gold Coast. That's where you know, that's our customer. That, you know, that's who we're talking to.
Great, I love it. So on the media at the moment with coronavirus and things like that, there was this big thing about toilet paper. So I see that you have toilet paper, so it might be the only roll that's left in Australia.
It's the emergency roll. The what's?
Tell me about
It's
this.
a great emergency roll. That's your last roll in the box.
Is that what it says?
It is, yeah.
Emergency roll. Oh,
this company
yes.
has a great sense of humour.
Oh, fantastic.
And actually, I got a delivery yesterday of tissues and toilet paper. Not because I was worried, but we had run out. So, we were getting close. We got to the emergency roll. It was time to order. But this is what
Bamboo or what?
the toilet roll and the tissue paper is. The tissues are bamboo. They've also got paper towel, and so I don't sell this in my business, but this is what I use. So this is what I talk about. I do.
Yes.
I'm a walking example of what I'm suggesting and encouraging people to do. So I love these guys because the money that is raised from selling their products goes back to building toilets in third world countries. So a percentage, quite a large percentage of that. And so I like to support them because they're a sustainable business doing some great good for the planet.
What about the quality? Any difference?
No. I
No.
mean, look, the tissue might be slightly rougher than some of what you find in the supermarket, but really, it's a tissue, and it's great. The toilet paper's fantastic. You can buy. I get the bamboo one. That's the premium one. I've tried both. They're both really great. The quality is excellent. The paper towel's brilliant, and the dealing with the business. Who gives a crap? Is fantastic. Yeah.
I've seen those paper towel ones that they're cloth or something, and
Yes.
you roll them on your so you can still pull them off, but they're
And so and talking about paper towel, I don't actually use a lot of paper towel in my home. I'll use reusable cloths that I just pop in the washing machine, but sometimes I just need paper towel.
it has a purpose.
Paper towel does have some plastic in it.
Oh, does it?
Yes, that's what sort of gives it, is
Stretching it.
That slight stretch, so it's not quite like a serviette or a tissue. Yeah, so it does have a little bit. But see, that's what I'm saying. I think sometimes we get so worried about doing the right thing all the time, that it stops us from taking any step. And I think, yes, I know that there's a bit of plastic in paper towel, but I limit. So I've changed my behaviour and I'm limiting my usage of it. Yeah.
Right, because that is one of my questions about how there's so much going on, and now there are fantastic products that it can be overwhelming. So how would you suggest to someone to make that start? Like with yourself, you started with the wax.
I did.
Sort of sheets.
Yeah.
But how would you say? Well, if they came online and looked at your products, would you say the top sort of 5 or?
Do you know
3?
the top things that people often start with are your reusable coffee cup. That's a really easy one.
Everyone's into that now.
It's not a challenge.
No.
It doesn't feel weird. It's easy to wash. I was reading someone recently who made a commitment that if they wanted a coffee and they'd forgotten their reusable cup, they were just going to sit down in the coffee shop and drink it out of a cup, rather than, succumb to the takeaway cup. And I thought, that's an easy one. Often people start with a stainless steel water bottle or reusable
or the
water
glass.
bottle.
They're very pretty too, aren't they?
There's so many beautiful ones out there.
Yeah.
The other thing that we're finding
this
that
is
a lot of
exciting.
people go to are stainless steel pegs. It seems to be stainless steel pegs really resonate with people. So you can see this is a couple of different brands.
And we'll take photos and we'll pop them up.
Sure. And I think the frustration of the cracking plastic peg.
And they're in the garden. You find pieces of peg all the
We're
time.
creating microplastics with those pegs.
They're cool. That's good. They're strong.
They're really strong, and have a feel of that one. That's a really pretty one.
I like that. Now this would be good for those people that only like to put colour to colour.
Yes.
This will alleviate all of that because
That's right.
they're rainbow.
They are.
Rainbow and they're all the same. That's fantastic.
So we find they're probably the top things that people change first. Coffee cups, water bottles and stainless steel pegs. They, they're not too difficult, to make the transition. It's not very far from what they're used to using. Actually, I've got a friend of mine, and she comes to me once a month. She just buys one thing a month. She actually started with beeswax wraps, and then she bought she was wanting a bottle brush.
What would you do with that?
Oh, it's amazing.
Into your bottle.
Because
what do I do with that? I'm sorry.
When you move to a reusable drink bottle, you actually need to wash it every day for hygiene. And it's really hard to find a decent bottle brush, plastic one. So this one, it just fits in. Oh, it's great because it's so nice and tight and it really cleans beautifully. And it's made from coconut fibre.
Is that, that's why it's...
Yep, and galvanised wire.
It's strong, but it's soft.
Yeah. And timber, so it's all compostable at the end of its life. But because the fibres aren't plastic, they don't splay and, flatten like you'll find with a plastic brush.
Yes, yeah.
So
you end up with this squished sort of looking thing.
That doesn't work. These things last for ages.
Excellent.
Oh my goodness.
And how do you care for that? You just wash it,
rinse it, and just let it dry.
Yep.
Yeah, just like you would with your plastic one.
Fantastic. That's a great idea.
Yeah.
I've got, but I have to say that because they came with my straws.
Yes.
My metal straws,
Yeah,
the
your little brush.
and I love them because you can get it. They're tiny little mini things. They're good.
Brilliant. Yeah.
So even thinking of that, that's a great idea.
That's right. So it's just what we talk to people about is just making one small change. You just pick one thing, you make one small change, and you sit with that for a while, and you feel good about it. And when you feel good about the fact that you've made that change, and you realise that you've just, made an impact on the health of the planet and the future for our children, you just want to do more. And so then it just sort of snowballs. And you just see, next thing you're going to the supermarket and you're like, oh my God, I can't believe I'm putting all my fruit and veg in these plastic bags,
That's the thing, that they do this reusable sort of bag. So I'm always pulling out those little green bags in there to reuse those as well.
Yes.
But I don't know if other people sort of go that step in.
Well, sometimes even the plastic bags are unavoidable, and I'll wash them and hang them out on the line and dry. I just, hang them out on the line, dry, and they'll dry, and then I just reuse them over and over again so that I've got the maximum amount of life I can get out of it. But and the same with those little green ones that are usually made from some sort of vegetable, cornstarch or potato.
I don't know.
No,
wow,
they're
I didn't
amazing.
know that.
Oh, there's even there is a company doing work with fish scales.
Wow.
So these are byproducts of industry.
Yes. So innovative.
I know. Well, this is the thing. It is
part of this.
We
this
look.
is lovely.
We look at the future, and it does look a little grim right now. I think. But then you just have to look around, and humans are so ingenious.
Yes.
And given the chance and a bit of, encouragement, we will solve this problem.
You're the perfect. I'm just looking at you. You're the perfect person for this, to sort of get people really behind this because of how much passion you have here. Thank you so much, because this is fantastic.
Well, I just looked at it, and I looked at the problem, and I thought, we like you have to take positive action, and not feel overwhelmed or shrink away from from the like the state of the situation. You have to take a deep breath, have a big picture plan, and sort of start
small,
and then just start small, because there's a saying that's going around and it's so true, that if 1 million, or imagine even 10 million people just made one small change in their life, and took out one bit of plastic, the impact that would have on the planet is astounding. Yeah.
And I think that the kids that are growing up today, even the teenagers, they're so much more aware. They've got the world at their fingertips, literally now.
Yes.
So they are aware. How have you found your children? Are they interested in this? Are they kicking and screaming, or are they're happy with it?
They are. Yeah. Part of the reason I did it was the main reason was my children, but two of my children were lucky enough to have an amazing kindy teacher, Margaret Setter, who was so passionate about the environment well before, it was a thing.
Yes.
And she just imbued in them this passion for caring, for the planet, to the point where my eldest child, Oliver, when he must have been about 5, and we were on the beach, and he sees this plastic bag, and he's like running down the beach. Oh my God, there's a plastic bag, I've got to save it.
Yes.
I can't, there's a dolphin or a turtle, something's going to eat that, and he runs after it, and he gets that.
Knowledge.
And he's 13 now, so this is going back,
Wow.
a while. And so their passion is my passion,
Yes.
They sometimes they groan, they roll their eyes at me, when I get on my soapbox. Lunchboxes, yes.
Because I notice now, with friends that've got little ones, I used to just wrap and brown paper or whatever,
Yes.
and try and do the right thing there. But now it's like no paper or no cling wrap. It's like little compartments in lunchboxes.
Yeah,
and
so
things.
we've
Like,
we
wow.
have, I didn't bring any today, but we've got stainless steel lunchboxes, so my kids
Are
all
they the
have,
ones that go
might
on
have
top?
a stack, it's a
yes.
stacker, and then they can have little containers inside. But we also use, so just to digress, we started with wraps, obviously, with Bee-Tastic, and then because I'm a busy mum and I wanted convenience, we created a bag. So this is a beeswax bag.
I didn't even notice that. Hold on.
Yeah. So this one here is a sandwich bag. So you just pop your sandwich in there, just like you would and then you seal it. Yep. And you just use the heat of your hand, move it along, and that seals it, keeps it beautiful and fresh. Yep. So
Fantastic.
for people who still love a Ziploc bag or really love,
I do love a Ziploc bag.
So that's it. And then we actually, to be honest, we started with these ones here, which are produce bags. So they are for keeping your produce fresh, because
This is fantastic.
what we were finding was,
I just thought they were you wrap the things. I didn't realise there are bags. That's ingenious.
Yeah, so we're one of the few who are doing bags at this stage.
All right.
And no doubt there'll be others that come on board. But yeah, so we were talking about so you collect your produce in your reusable bag, but then you find that it doesn't store very well.
Okay,
Not
so
everything.
instead of like the cucumbers or
Yeah,
something
so
like that.
your lettuce, you put your lettuce in the fridge.
Yes.
Without
Yes.
without a plastic bag, you're going to find it gets pretty mangled pretty quickly. So yeah, bags. And on our website, plasticfreealternatives.com, there's a whole lot of information and a fact sheet you can download that talks about the different ways to store different vegetables. Whether you put it in a glass jar, or wrap it in a beeswax wrap, or pop it in one of our produce bags.
Yes.
There's so many ways, but that, these ones were the mother, like out of necessity. I'm busy, I'm a mum.
I'm sure the other mums at school and other people, when they see that, do they come up to you?
Yeah, they do.
I'm sure they would, because I've not seen that before.
Well, we had a customer come back at Mount Tambourine. They came back. They were well and truly on the journey. They had wraps, they had a whole lot of stuff. They bought some bags and they came back the next month and got more, because they'd sent those bags over to America to their daughter in San Diego, because she could not find a beeswax wrap anywhere. And
there you go.
so I know. So they bought,
yeah,
and then they bought more, because they really do a great job. I actually even did a bit of a tester and I go to the Mount Cotton Organic Farm, and after getting my fruit and veg, I popped a lettuce in a bag, one of my beeswax bags, and a lettuce in a plastic bag, and left them for a week in the fridge to see the difference. And the results are actually on our Facebook page. It was astounding to see. So at the end of the week, the lettuce in the plastic bag had already started to go mushy on the outside, and the one in the beeswax stayed fresh and was still beautiful.
Wow.
And that's the thing.
Yeah.
It seems expensive sometimes to make the change, but in fact,
initially,
it's affordable.
There's a little bit out of the outlay, but then
Yes.
if you add that up to how many times you buy something, like to replace cling wrap and all that sort of stuff.
Over time, you save money. Over time, like
And
with the
then the
beeswax
food,
wraps,
like
you
you
save
say.
money on food, because
Yeah.
things aren't going off as quickly. You're getting much longer life out of it. So if we just shift our thinking a little bit, and sort of take a deep breath and spend a little bit of money, and like it, and it is like some people are doing it once a month, some people every 3 months. It's what you can afford to do, and that's what we love, working like with people at their own pace, to make it affordable for them to make the change, because we want everyone to feel positive and feel excited about it. But
well, you've got to go. You've definitely got to go to markets, have a chat with you, because all the stories behind it all. It's fantastic. I love it.
Yeah.
Excellent. Thank
you
you so much for doing this. It's great.
Yeah.
It's good. It's good for everybody.
It is, and we can all do it.
We can all do it.
Yes.
Baby steps.
Absolutely.
Baby steps.
Yes.
All right, so we have just naturally talked about so much of the questions that I wanted to ask you. It's great. I love that. Thank you so much. I'm really enjoying this. So, one of the things that I have said is that, and you will probably have an opinion, and we've sort of touched on it, about saving the planet and the or dare I say climate change debate that's sort of ongoing.
Yeah.
And how do you rationalize the difficulties the world is facing, and what could you see happen or stop happening? What are you, because obviously you're very passionate about this, and I love it. I'm getting the energy from you. But do you see it going somewhere? Do you want something to stop in particular, like the number one thing that you could see happening? Because you've got a lot of education in this area, I think.
Yeah, and we're apart from selling the products, we love working with schools. We go into schools and educate children. Yeah,
I knew there would be something there.
And the teachers too. Yes. Yep. Because the kids are very receptive, and actually they're the ones pushing up.
Oh, they are, definitely.
In pushing their parents to take those little steps. I think it's easy to feel overwhelmed by what's going on in
because in a lot of countries that I've visited, they don't have the education. These people are basically surviving, so therefore to be concerned about the plastic or something that they're using is so not even on their radar, because they're just living day to day.
Yes.
Because of this poor country.
But yet
sort of
they're
thing.
often being the ones impacted most by our plastic use and our abuse of
because
the
their
planet.
waters and everything, there's a real issue there. So I think that some people use that as not an excuse, but they're just feeling a bit sort of overwhelmed that, oh, well, what if all that's going on, then my little sort of, the bit that I do won't really make an impact.
Yeah.
But in actual fact, it is making an impact.
I think as human beings we have to get really determined to make a change.
Yeah.
And
I like that.
Yeah.
Well said.
Yep. I think that it is easy to feel overwhelmed by all that we're seeing in the news, and all that's going on.
Fake news.
And fake news.
Fake news.
Oh, yes. Yeah.
Sensationalizing. And,
Yep. And the illusions that are presented to us. So
I find in some of these third world countries as well, where plastics and that are a massive issue, and there's dump children that go around, and they used to, it's black market picking up things. But there are companies now that you've talked about, touched on, that they are educating these kids, but because they are doing it, they're getting copper boxes and that sort of thing, and then they're making things with that, like bags, reusable bags and things like that. So what was it, the pull top bags?
Yes.
That sort of thing. Like those countries, I think inside their hearts they want to do the right thing as well.
Absolutely.
Yeah.
I think ultimately we are all want to do, most of us want to do the right thing. And so I'm heartened by what I see out there, which is people just becoming more aware. And that's the part of, the joy that Mum and I both get from our business is the working, and the educating, going into schools. We've also been invited to go down and run a workshop with some seniors down on the Gold Coast. We're planning a whole series of workshops that we want to deliver to support people,
but also educate
them. Educate them and then support them. A lot of I think most people are aware of what's going on. The war on waste on the ABC really made a massive impact on our awareness of what was going on. But it also overwhelmed people, and they sort of felt unsure of what to do and how to make a change. And a friend of mine just said, "Oh, the concept of zero waste is just beyond me. If I think about that, I just feel, stuck. I don't feel like I can move forwards. I don't know, that just seems a totally unattainable goal for them." So I guess I see a whole lot of out, in the media and all that discussion, and I really feel for the people who are at the coalface of the impact that we're having right now. But I think we have to have faith in the ingenuity and the inventiveness of the human race to find the solutions that we need and to make the change. Just that one small change. As I said, if 1 million or even 10 million people made one small change today, the impact would be, phenomenal. So I don't allow it to weigh me down. And I look, because I also think it's not just individuals. I think large corporate organisations have a huge role to play. There's been some recent media coverage of some of the bigger ones. One who's committed to removing plastic forks and cutlery from their outlets. Another who has committed to investing in how to manage waste and maybe find ways, like we were talking about, of reusing waste, because it's not just not about avoiding it, it's about, reuse.
Fantastic.
So there are, so seeing that, like if those corporates actually make honest change, not just present sleight of hand change, we will see the impact. It will be a massive impact, and it will just get the ball rolling, and suddenly consumers start demanding that change. Suddenly we as consumers no longer accept things that are going to damage the environment. So and there are lots of small companies out there. I think it's all about, I also think it's about collaboration. It's about businesses working together. We want to work with other businesses to support them in making, changes.
I think you're right. I think, it's corporate. It's them, because yes, the individual can do their bit, but they've got more people that they can impact. Yeah. And by showing leadership in that, they can do that.
They're the change agents. Yeah. They have the reality is it will affect their bottom line. At the end of the day, if they don't make a change, if they don't drive the change, we're not going to be here to buy their goods. So it's and I think they're starting to do that, and that's really great. And I'd love to see, government at all levels supporting businesses in doing that. Small business, championing small businesses for the changes they're making, encouraging big business.
And shining a light
on the little guys,
so that they can see that they're working hard, doing the right thing.
Yeah. We need to highlight, they
celebrate it.
And and you are a champion of, the little guy, and shining a light on the amazing things that are happening in our local area. Yes. It's people like you who are affecting change, today.
Little steps, little things, little bits and pieces all joined together make a big thing, don't they?
That's right. And I think what we have to do, what's really important, is to stop and pat ourselves on the back and and acknowledge when we have done something, even if it is little. Often we don't do that. Often we criticise ourselves. The talk that we have in our heads is negative. I need to do more. I'm not doing enough. Or but I just, stop. Yeah. Be positive. Be proud of whatever it is.
Train that little voice to say the right things.
Yeah. Celebrate it.
You don't want to listen. This comes up quite a lot in all the chats that I have. The little voice. And someone said the other day, if that was a friend saying all those negative things to you all the time, you wouldn't have anything to do with them. So why would you be telling yourself that? So instead of saying I've got to do more, just say, look what you've done.
Yes.
Well done. Yes. Now let's look on. Let's see where else we can go. Let's keep going.
Yeah. You've got your big picture. You know where you want to go. Plan the small changes you want to make to get you there. But as you move along that path, remember to stop.
Fantastic. I love it.
And congratulate yourself for the change that you're making.
So you're in business with your mum for this, but you have a family.
Yes.
So, and I talk about balance because I'm sure everybody just wants to know the secret. But there is no secret, obviously. But everybody keeps saying there's no secret. So, but how do you find balance with your family and running your business?
Oh, isn't it a challenge? Wow. Yeah, with 3 boys and a business, it is a challenge, and I don't really feel like I've perfected it. Some days
perfection is an illusion. It's not real. If you can do really good up to nearly excellent, some days you've made it. Gold star.
Yep.
Yeah.
So, I do my best. I don't. Some days are better than others, and I think that Mum and I have got all these plans for the business, particularly our education programs, which take quite a long time to plan and write and prepare because we want to do a quality job. And that's our focus, that's our goal for this year. But we hasten slowly. Yeah, I think that's what it is. It's, I think I'm gentle with myself. I'm not harsh. You know, I set myself goals and I do my best to achieve them. But there's no point in thrashing myself, you know, and destroying my own health in the pursuit of something. So it's striking that balance, and sometimes it's frustrating because I'm the sort of person that I do just like want to throw myself 100% into whatever it is I'm doing, yes. Like, you know, full on focus.
I can get this. Like, your energy is incredible.
But like, I'm learning. This is like, I think that's part of running this business is me learning to, like, you know, find the balance, yes. You know, because my kids are just so important to me. Yeah. And, you know,
you've got to be present for them as well.
You do. They're 13, 11 and 7, and they'll thank me for the impact that I'm making on the planet, but they'll also thank me for being there when, you know, something in their life, you know, is going wrong and they just want to be heard, whatever that is, because yes. Often it seems very insignificant.
But they're the little things that they carry with them. So, you know, and our boys grow into men. So being there for them now is so important.
Oh, my hope for my children and my boys, having 3 boys.
It's busy.
It's busy, but it's, you know, to raise them to be more emotionally in touch, you know, to be aware of themselves, to be able to express their feelings, because I think we don't teach boys how to do that. So it's important for me to be there.
Yes.
Yeah, so it is. It's a juggle. How do I do it? Some days I'm like, oh my God.
You don't do it. I don't think that anyone can do it, but it's also because this is for people that are thinking of going into business or are in business, and you know, you sort of feel like you're out there on your own. So listening and going, well, how do you do it? You've got a great, successful business. How are you managing all this? I'm doing such a bad job.
And sometimes I make mistakes.
No, that's it. That's exactly it. We are all just doing the best we can.
Sometimes I miss that email from the customer, you know, and I don't respond as timely as I want to be. But, you know, like, we are. And
I interviewed a lady this week, and it's going to be coming up, Beck from Perfectly Smooth, and she said when she first started in her business, she let her customers know that she had 2 kids and she would be there for them. Yeah. And her customers, she was talking about like attracting like, so her customers are very much totally accepting of that and wouldn't think anything of it. If she had to say, look, I need to reschedule, or not that day, let's make it this day, sort of thing, for appointments and things. I think that's that you sort of, like you said, set your goal, you know where you're going to be, you want to be present for your kids, you've got your business. It's that juggle, isn't it?
And it is being upfront with people, you know, about it. Yeah. Just being honest, and I think most people accept that.
What are they going to say?
What?
You want to be with your children?
I'm not as important.
God.
Yes.
No.
I just think it's. I encourage women to go out there and and just to run with their passion, whatever they're passionate about. And it is hard. It's not easy.
No.
Like, and at times you wonder whether you're ever going to get to where you want to go.
Yeah.
But it's those who stick at it and push through the difficult times that get there. Yeah.
Put the big boots on and keep going.
Yeah.
So what life lesson have you learned that you've sort of brought with you? Is there something that stands out that maybe...
Yeah, I think that we underestimate our capabilities and capacity. Yeah.
that is
You've recognised that.
Yeah, yep. And I think that's what I bring with me into my business. And the recognition that we're vastly more capable as human beings.
Yes.
Than
Are you
we
talking about
realise.
women here? Like,
Yes, yeah, all of us, but women in
Yes.
particular. I think women in particular put themselves down. I think women who have spent time at home with children, giving their family their priority, can often lose their confidence in themselves and their ability.
and because that school gets, their work school or their career or their trade, whatever it is, they sort of have shifted away from that. That's fantastic if they have. Maybe little courses, keeping their hand in it, that sort of thing, when you get the time.
Yes.
Yeah, don't be hard on yourself at that stage.
Are really hard on
Because
ourselves.
when you've got little ones or teenagers even, like you've got to be able to pick the time when you can put that, into place to keep that school base there. Get some skills happening.
And
I think that's really important. And I'll tell you why. The largest statistic of homeless people at the moment, the growing largest statistic, is women in their middle age, because of the fact that maybe the children are older, they've gone through a divorce, and then they haven't got those skills there to sort of keep that lifestyle and they're ending up on the streets, and it's a real issue at the moment.
Yeah, I agree. Women are the carers in our society still. We are the predominant, carers, and it's an essential role. But it does sometimes leave us vulnerable.
Yeah. So don't lose yourself.
No, don't lose yourself.
Keep yourself vital. Keep yourself, going. Even if it's online, or read some books, or you know what I mean. Like there's things that we can do.
Part of me studying plastic-free alternatives was I spent 13 years caring for my children, and my background was in marketing. And in 13 years, marketing had changed quite significantly. Yeah, and I felt no longer skilled to go and get a job.
Sure.
So the business has reskilled me.
Yes.
I've learned. So it's been my education.
Yes.
So
and you're just getting in there and doing it. And learning along the way.
Absolutely. There's so many YouTube
Because you
videos.
don't need to know everything to start.
No.
Or if you're in the business and you're working hard, you don't need to know everything all at once.
No.
It will come. It will grow with you.
And I think taking the pressure off and not expecting a business to go from zero to, amazing in under 2 years is important. We need to set realistic goals about what we can achieve within, the parameters of the other things going on in our lives. So I think we have to take the pressure off ourselves. We don't have to be perfect. We don't have to get it first time right.
This has been fabulous
keep
chatting.
going.
I love chatting to you. This is
Like
great.
we're like ducks on the water. I don't know what you feel like, but that's how I feel most days, like a duck. Like cruising along. Like we often put on this sort of
Everybody is though.
yeah, like appearance of like ease. This is so easy. I'm just running a business, and it's successful, and my children are beautiful and happy and never argue. But underneath, I think
You're putting out fires everywhere.
We're going so fast. Yeah.
I love it. It's real. You're real. Okay. My last question. So I'll read it.
Yes.
No matter what you think you are always more than that.
So true, isn't it?
There you go.
Yes.
What do you think?
Absolutely. Yeah, we are so much more. We have so much more capability and capacity than we could ever imagine. And it's through challenges and adversity that we discover our true strengths and capacity to and resilience, really. Yeah. So I think, we don't see that until we have to face adversity, and that's what we're facing right now as a society, adversity. And I really believe, and what drives me forward is that we have the capacity to change and to deal with that adversity, even if we don't realise we do right now. Many of us don't. Many people out there.
And I think that you can, if you are feeling that you can't do it or that you're lost somewhere in amongst it, there's people there that are always willing to chat to you. You know what I mean? Like, reach out. If your friends are keeping you down, or you feel like you're in the wrong crowd, or I don't know, that's sort of like me talking as a mum, I guess.
Yes. We have to surround ourselves with the right sort of people.
Sometimes you can't choose because they're people that are in your life, but you could limit maybe yourself, and you can look for other things to come into your life. Take steps to bring in that sort of the learning and the good people that you want to talk to. Be open to it. Open to opportunities. I think. We are infinitely capable human beings with a great, with great and inventive minds, and that is what powers me forward. And that is what is contained in the 2040 documentary that Damon Gamon has produced. I haven't seen it.
Honestly, go and watch it because
is it on Netflix?
It is on Netflix.
Okay.
I'm pretty sure it is. And follow him on Facebook because he's putting up all these amazing stories about things that are happening in locally and globally, positive changes. Small organisations pulling together and working collaboratively, and in the documentary he really makes you realise just what interesting and inventive things are going on by people with creative minds, and that once implemented are really going to make a huge change and solve these problems. We just need to be open to it, and so I think we are far more than what we think we are.
Thank you so much. I have loved chatting with you today. I will take
So don't forget to subscribe and give us a thumbs up if you enjoyed the chat room today. I'd love to hear from you, so leave us a message, and the people I interview are quite happy to answer any questions that you have also. Take care, and we'll see you soon.